Hi, I'm Shantae. Thank you for joining me on today's episode and the second season of DesignHer TV. Becoming a successful entrepreneur is all about mastering the ability to stand out from your competition. That's why I couldn't think of a better place to kick off season 2 than in the Standout style boutique in Chicago, where boutique owner Tamika Price is going to show us some of her lessons and secrets about becoming a successful entrepreneur and how to do it in style. Keep watching.
Maria Price, and we're at Standout Style Boutique.
So the reason why I wanted to have you on DesignHer TV, especially this season, is because this season is all about challenging yourself, pushing forward. And I know that there are so many people who aspire to be entrepreneurs, but they have a fear. Fear is always the recurring theme that runs through and through. So I want you to talk to us a little bit about how it is that you pushed past that, how it is that you decided that I'm going to do this anyway. What does that process look like for you?
Well, first, thank you for having me and on your second season. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Fear is, I don't know, it's just terrible, it's crippling, but I'm always more afraid of not doing something and then the regret. To me, having regret is way more strong than fear. And I always think about like, let's say if it's a speaking engagement or like a very important photo shoot or anything like that, I always think, just think about the time that you'll be done with it and then it'll be over. So that's kind of like my tricking myself over
into
fear.
thinking that it's not that bad.
Yeah, it's really not.
And one of the things that I've also noticed is that when you do push past the fear, when you do bite the bullet and say, I'm going to do it anyway, there's a sense of accomplishment after that where you feel like, wow, I faced this, I overcame, and now I'm ready to push forward and do more.
Exactly.
And accept bigger challenges. So there's a lot of entrepreneurs where they have a product line. So sometimes it's a hair product, sometimes it is clothing, sometimes, you know, it's some widget, gadget, something like that. And they really debate as to whether or not they should start with an online store, see how that goes, and then expand to like a brick and mortar store, or whether or not they should just go for it and start here. So do you have an opinion or some advice for people that are kind of battling with that decision?
Definitely. A wise man, AKA my husband, has always told me that never open up a store or an office space until the demand is there. Because a lot of people just want to be like, oh, I'm about to start this and I'm going to get my office, and before you know it, that rent is coming up and you have 0.5 clients lined up.
Right.
I had been styling for 5 years before I did this. So I just felt like this was an expansion of my brand after writing Standout Style, the book. So I would say, honestly, about 90% of my customers thus far, I've only been open 3 weeks, have been my clientele and my followers and, you know, people within my own network. So that's really awesome. And once this springtime finally gets here, whenever it gets here.
Finally, spring in Chicago. Hello, somebody.
Maybe we'll see it in July, but when it finally gets here, we'll get a lot more foot traffic too. So, and also I wanted to mention, regardless to whether you're a brick and mortar or online, if you don't have a strong marketing plan, it's not gonna succeed. So whether you're writing a book or have your widget, gadget, you need to have a marketing plan as to how you're gonna sell it, whether it's online or in the store, and execute it and consistently go back to it and edit it. And it's not just, oh, I'm gonna post it on Facebook and think it's gonna sell. It's more than that.
Absolutely, and that is good advice, okay, because I tell my clients that all the time. You can't announce something, you know, if I build it, they will come. It doesn't work that way. You definitely have to be strategic in engaging your audience. And so one of the things that you mentioned was your book. So tell us a little bit about your book, the title, and who that audience is. So who is the Tamika Price client?
I would say, like, I wrote Standout Style, the shopping and style guide for real women. Really, it's kind of like an ode to my clients over the years. I have like come across all different types of women in regards to their shopping personalities. I discussed that in the book. and just like their style personalities in general, and trying to just let people know that regardless to whether you're a size 2 or a size 20, you can still have a signature style, you can still stand out in a good way. And I discuss the standout style must-haves, as well as just giving people really practical, fun tips, like to really incorporate and jazz up your wardrobe.
Okay, now that is something that when I work with clients, I really try to stress, I really try to emphasize. Your brand, it isn't just your logo, it isn't just, you know, your tagline, it's not just your backstory, but it's also the way that you choose to show up in the world, the way that you choose to show up at events and things like that. And sometimes people kind of struggle with that message because it's like, well, they're not investing in, you know, my clothes, they're investing in my service or my product. So can you speak to the visual branding piece and, you know, maybe what that communicates to your audience or your client?
Well, definitely, firstly, you want to not just like blend in with the walls, you know what I mean? Like you want people to be able to pinpoint, you know, you across the room, and that could just be like a great cut of wardrobe, you know, it could be a great color, it could be a great print. It's definitely about finding what works for you. And then also, we always know that when we look good, we feel good. So it's something about the confidence that when you really walk in somewhere and you're really polished and pulled together, you are a lot more inclined to go and introduce yourself, to go and, you know, you see a group of people and just go walk over and, you know, just get in on the conversation. And then I always say that wardrobe and your image is really a conversation starter. So especially if somebody shares like a like for like, oh, where'd you get that necklace? And then now, boom, that could be a client just based off of them giving you a compliment on something. It happens to me a lot, and I know it happens to other people. I'm always complimenting people, so.
And you make a really good point. The way that you choose to show up in the room can be a conversation starter. One of the things that I hear from my clients is, I hate networking. You know, I feel so phony, or I feel fake. I feel like it's contrived. Like I don't know what to say when I walk up to people. But actually, with your visual brand, you can create a dynamic where they're walking up to you and giving you the compliments, and that can be an opening for, as Tamika said, your a pitch about what you do and who you serve, who you are, and those are potential opportunities. Now, one thing that you did say that I wanted to pick up on was you said you were styling for 5 years before you got to this point. So is overnight success a myth?
I really think it is, but I also think that because of all the social media we have, it's a little bit more realistic. But people generally don't just, you know, wham bam, I'm doing, you know, I'm doing this and it's official and everybody respects me. It's, you know, building a brand and a craft and a following, and, you know, people want to see consistency before they can believe in your brand. So you can't just pop up and say, oh, I'm a stylist, and you don't have anything in the, you know, in the rear about what kind of stylist are you, how long have you been doing this, who are you styling, what do you believe in, you know, all of that stuff. So. Oh, and something else I wanted to say was
yes, do go on.
You were talking about the logo and things like that, and I can't remember who said it, but they said, as a personal brand, from a personal branding standpoint, your wardrobe is your logo.
Bam, you
Boom.
hear that? Boom, right there. Okay, love that. That will be in a brand cast near you, designers. You keep watching, okay? But no, I love that. You know, success is paid for in advance, you know, and even though that's one of the frustrations of being an entrepreneur, is that you're moving, but it doesn't seem like things are happening at the rate, you know, that you want them to happen, but you have to start somewhere. Even entrepreneurs have to pay their dues. No matter what your industry is, you have to pay your dues, you know, on the front end. And that's one of the other questions. A lot of entrepreneurs, you know, they have a dream like this, and they're really struggling with, do I leave my 9 to 5? You know, do I keep the 9 to 5 and kind of work on the side, or do I just have faith, bite the bullet, and jump out there? So can you speak to that entrepreneur that is struggling with that decision as to whether or not this is going to be their full-time pursuit, or whether or not they're going to have to live in both worlds for a little while?
I think, honestly, it's a little bit of both. I think you have to have a lot of faith, and 2, you have to have the works along with the faith. I think it also has something to do with the planning aspect of it. It's not smart to just go and quit a job and not know how you're going to at least pay your bills for at least the next 2 months. If you have it in you, I understand being a mom and a wife, you may not have it in you to do the job and the hustle, your passion after hours, because sometimes it's just not that many hours in the day. But I really feel like if it's something that's like hindering your mood, your health, quit that daggone job.
There you go.
But you also have to have a plan and just be a little bit smart about it, because we don't want people to get evicted. We don't want people to lose their homes.
That's right.
And you really have to hustle hard, like seriously. You can't get freaked out about no. You can't get freaked out about being judged. That all goes out of the window once you're an entrepreneur. You can't let those little things stress you out.
Fear goes right out the window when it's the first of the month and the rent is due, okay? Because when there is an eviction notice on the door, or when, you know, your car is about to get repossessed, all of a sudden judgment and that sort of thing, that goes right out of the window, because there's a need and there's a necessity. But Tamika's point about, you know, having an exit strategy, you know, you don't just up and quit a job, but, you know, you do have to plan so that, and make some sacrifices, you know, cut some things out so that you can make a smart transition into that role, instead of just jumping out there and there's no net. Okay, so let's get into the fun stuff. Okay. Yay. So in terms of visual branding, you know, what are some of those must-haves? You said, you know, you wrote a style guide for real women.
Yes.
So the real woman, you know, and we always talk about the size 2. The size 2 woman always gets picked on. So
yeah, but she's real.
She's real too. Okay, she's a real woman too.
Yeah.
Size 2 and the size 22, y'all. Okay, so if you are talking about, you know, what are some of those must-haves, those things in your wardrobe that you can just pull out, you know, mix and match, what are those recommendations?
Well, first and foremost, it always buckles down to fit. If it doesn't fit,
you must have quit.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, but then, you know, I was like, thank you for saying that.
Right on, right on.
Fit is everything. Also, it really depends on what it is that you're trying to do with your wardrobe, but like entrepreneurial wise, and just women wise in general, it obviously has a lot to do with your shape, but definitely like a great structured blazer. Sheath dresses usually are good on most frames. I'm very much a fan of a wrap dress. It very much accentuates curves, and then if you have a boyish shape, or, you know, whether you could be very thin, it can still enhance and make you look more curvaceous with the right way. And very big on the classic button-down shirt too. You could roll up your sleeves, you know, it could work for the weekends, or you could layer it obviously under cardigans or suit jackets or anything like that. Very big into statement pieces. That's where really you can really have fun with your wardrobe then, because you could buy a lot of neutrals and basics, and then add your pops with your accessories and scarves and shoes and bags. So that's something that I also tell people, because when you're really doing your investment pieces in terms of like the clothing aspect of it, you can have more fun with costume jewelry, and you know what I mean, like that kind of stuff. So just kind of like offset the budget too, so you're not spending a lot on everything.
Yes. So last question. Has it all been worth it?
Definitely. I come to work extremely happy. I drive down Lakeshore Drive singing happy if it's on the radio, or if it's not on the radio. Yeah, I love what I do, and I'm so blessed and happy that people can see that. Because people tell me a lot, like, I can tell you're so passionate about what you do, and it's not just about fashion, I promise. It's just about the therapy that goes along with making a woman feel better about herself. So,
I can see it. It's emotional.
Definitely.
It's emotional.
Yeah.
Well, where can people find you? Where is Standout Style Boutique? Standout
Style Boutique is at 1419 West Belmont in Chicago's Lakeview neighborhood. I also have a website, shopstandout.com. We have a Facebook page. We're on Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, everything you could think of, we're on it. So
please do support Tamika. One of the things that I can tell you, and one of the reasons why this season is going to incorporate more stories about entrepreneurs, is because entrepreneurship can feel like a very lonely road. You know, you look around your circle of friends and everybody has that 9 to 5 and you're up late in the midnight hour working on marketing plans or your bio or, you know, figuring out, you know, how you're going to transition from one place to another. And you start to wonder, you know, is it worth the sacrifice, you know? And it's good to see, you know, that you're not alone. Success is paid for on the front end. Everybody has to pay their dues. And as you build towards your dream, you know, there are some fears, there are some sacrifices, there are some setbacks.
There's some risks.
There's some risk involved. But without the risk, you don't get the reward. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to highlight Tamika. So please do support her, follow her on Facebook and social media, and come by, pay a visit, you know, because one of the things that I often say, Facebook followers don't pay bills, okay? No matter how many followers, likes don't pay the bills. Now, if you were getting paid by the like, now we would be rolling in the deep, okay? But you don't. We don't get paid by the like, you know, so it's actually showing up, you know, to support other people, and you never know what types of opportunities. Tamika has been on Rachel Ray, you know, so she has had celebrity, you know, channels crossing her path, so you never know where your next opportunity is going to come from. And sometimes, as she said, you can serve your way to success. You can serve your way to your next opportunity to come and support her. So thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having
I appreciate you for kicking off our second season. It's very exciting. And please, if you want to visit Tamika, please go to shopstandout.com. Thank you.
Thank you.